Yo, it is Reverse Polarity episode 32. I'm your boy, HifiVega, and I am joined, as always, by the man who never sleeps, the guy who only wears bolo zip ties at weddings, and the man who once sword fought with banana Laffy Taffies, which
Ooh,
is,
yeah.
I will say, is probably the only thing they're good for. What's up,
I
Dean?
got my butt kicked on that one. I can tell you right now, I've never owned a bolo tie. So
You would look good in a bolo tie, I think, especially
think
if
so.
it's a bolo zip tie, like zip ties.
Yeah, I got that. No,
Yeah,
I don't think so. No, because then someone choke me or something. Just finish the job.
Yeah.
Oh
Get
my
the flush
gosh.
cutters. Get the flush cutters.
Get the flush cutters. We actually had we got a set of a friend of the show, a friend of ours from Texas that owns a shop out there or works at a shop out there, sent us a set. Both Fernando and I a set of Nipex flush cutters today.
Ooh.
That was like, because Nipex makes some really nice shit. But I typically buy cheap flush cutters just because
You're gonna run through them.
I'm gonna either that I'm gonna lose them or I just they're everywhere. We just have flush cutters everywhere, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to keep track of these because these are nice.
You put an Apple AirTag on it.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
I bought some Nipex cable cutters. They were the compact size though, and they're pretty good except for on 1/0. On 1/0, you really got to stretch them out. So I kind of like when I was crimping it down, I kind of hit my nail and like pulled it, to do the old nail bend. I was like, I hate these. I hate these cable cutters now.
You hurt me, you bastard. It's not my fault. It's yours.
Yeah. So I had to go back and go back to my old standby Klein.
Yeah.
And get the big ones.
I don't know. I mean, we have everyone's. We just buy one of each because they're all different colors. So yeah. I mean, when it comes to tools like that, it's like we buy every single one that we can get our hands on, just because like Fernando needs 2 different ones. I need 2. There's one in my toolbox, so it's that way. Everyone, it's like who's got red ones in their bucket? Mine are red in my bucket. Okay, well yours need to be blue in your bucket. All right, well, mine will be green on my desk, or so it moves around like that.
Do you use the high leverage ones?
Uh-uh.
Is that you just use the compact?
Just a standard, whatever normal length is,
Yeah, I think those are considered the high leverage versus the compact, which would be,
Oh, then yeah, we use the high leverage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fancy.
That's right. Only the best. I'm
sure. Do you strip wires with that too?
Oh,
or do you use that?
Man? 30 years, baby.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I do it too. But if you want to get fancy, I mean, you can use a razor.
Oh, screw all that. I mean, I remember I was watching a show and somebody was talking about like, make sure you got to be careful because, don't use one of these because you'll cut strands. And I'm like, how much wire do you strip? Like, okay, amateur. I mean, back off. It's like,
Well, plus, those strands didn't want to be there anyways. If they get cut, that's on them. That's not on me.
Well, I mean, you learn like it's just muscle memory. It's like you learn what it takes to strip a wire. I mean, when it comes to the small stuff, I'm pretty adamant about using actual wire strippers because every one of those little strands counts. But PVC pipe cutters. Yeah, but no, it's just like you just get used to the action that it takes to strip the wire, and it's just like boom, done. And
PVC pipe cutters good for stripping wire, bad for cutting wire, unless they're the ratcheting kind. And I don't like them.
I don't know. I just the thing is like at this point, and you just everything is just second nature. Like, ooh, that made it worse. Everything just kind of, it's like you. It's just everything just there, and know what you need to do it, and it's like you don't even think about it. It's like you're like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to look for that tool. No, it's right there. You pick it up, you do it, you move on. It's not even.
This is the one that I do the thing with.
Yep. And so, my workbench is set up, and actually both of our workbenches are set up so that every tool that we need to work on anything is right in that. So there's 2 sets of tools. You have the tools that you take out to the car in the bucket, And then you have, what's up, Scott? I was looking at his amps the other night when he was on the show. And because he's got big amps.
I want big amps.
I want a big amp. But, you know, so if there's a tool that I need, I don't want to go looking for it. So, you know, everything just says there, hey, Kip's in the house.
Kip. You know, speaking of Scott, he is a Snap-on guy, and I will give a shout out to, those are my favorite cutters. The Blue Point. No, it's actually Blue Point.
Yeah,
but they're the compact, and those things, I mean, they are sharp. I really
the little tiny ones are like
they're about inches? This big. They're standards, yeah, about 6 inches, 6 to 8 inches. But
years
extra
ago,
wire, that cut wire,
I had someone give me a set of Snap-on crimper or Blue Point crimpers, the little tiny micro ones. And I mean, I was like, oh, these are so cool. And they're in my something. And it's like one of those things that it just never found its way into the workflow.
Yeah.
So it's like I tried, but it was just wasn't the right size, you know. It was like it was too small, it was too big, or I don't know, it was weird. So in front of me, no. So like in front of me is the second is one of the two toolboxes I have, and it is filled with all the hand tools such as cutters, pliers, adjustable wrenches. Those all sit in front of me, and then the big silver toolbox that you see that's on my left is filled with like sockets and wrenches and cutters and screwdrivers and all the electronic testing equipment and stuff like that. So I had to break them into different categories, so to speak, because one toolbox just wasn't enough, which is usually the case when you have way too many tools.
Right.
Which kind of brings into the topic we're going to have tonight, but we're not ready for that yet.
No.
I did have this funny thing happen tonight that I wanted to talk about for just a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's hit it, man.
So I was, and I know a lot of you guys will have experienced something like this. So I was running tonight, as if any night I get the opportunity to, and you know when you get that certain smell that just like it hits you and you're like, oh, and then it like immediately triggers a memory.
Yeah.
Like immediately it's like you're like there for a split second, and then you're back to where you're at, and you're like, oh man, oh that was I don't want to go back to that smell because but it's like, oh my gosh, I remember. And it was funny because it immediately took me back to when I worked at a fast food restaurant in high school. And the only thing I wanted to do was make money to buy car stereo equipment. Like that was it. That was the whole goal in life, was I'm doing this shitty job that smells and is disgusting. And yeah, I have fun doing it. I mean, one of my best friend, and you know, and all that. Smells like burnt coil. We can talk about that too if you want. Let's just not burn the coils.
Right.
And so anyways, it was funny because I was like, you know, if you would have told that 17-year-old or 16-year-old kid, like, hey man, you know, right now you're busting your ass to just get a Sherwood 240 or an Orion 280GX or whatever the hell it is, you know, in 30 years, you're going to be this guy that, you know, all these things that have happened to me in the past 30 years, it's like, you're going to be this guy. I you know, you just sat there and been like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just funny because it was like being able to think of that guy for just a minute, of like how everything revolved around making $350 an hour so that I could buy the next piece of car stereo equipment, the next CD to make my shit bump. You know, that's all it was. That was the whole thing. It was just funny to be like, you know, I remember saving up to get an amplifier, and now I have more amplifiers than I have possibly could ever put in cars. And
now you could actually get tired of amplifiers. Like,
and now I could actually get tired of amplifiers. I don't think I ever will, But
Yeah.
you know, it's just the thought of how it has changed so much, and like the path that this has all gone down. It was, I don't know, that was deep thought with Dean.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like you went from, wanting to buy some cardio to selling cardio, installing cardio to now basically teaching the world about car audio every day. So there's a pretty big gambit in between,
Oh yeah,
frying up
it's
some French fries and frying up some subs on YouTube for fun.
I don't fry up subs on YouTube for fun. That's all you guys
Yeah.
apparently. You know,
I've done it
so
once and I was hesitant, but I did it.
well, you should use pulled pork subwoofers because he's got recone kits for everything, all the way down to an 8-inch mid bass. And I meant power hog. I didn't mean pulled pork. But that's every time I hear hog, it's the South, so I think of pulled pork.
Well, and then everyone thinks he's from Arkansas because he used the power hog, which are actually from Georgia. Oh, hey. Razorback. TM, what's up, man? Appreciate it.
That's funny. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, same thing with me. Like, if you told me in 2010, like, hey, eventually you're gonna be on YouTube talking about car audio, and people are gonna recognize you for talking about car audio, or on an actual official like Kicker live stream. Like, yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. Like, this never. I still to this day sometimes feel like, oh man, what am I doing here? But I'm the average guy, so I can fill the spot of the average guy for everybody else that would like to be in that same spot, chopping it up with Kip and Steve Irby at lunch, in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Hey man, if not you, it'd be someone else, so you might as well do it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you got the gumption, if you got the gumption to do it, shit.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? I can talk a lot, and I say sometimes inappropriate things, but hey. We do have.
Oh my gosh, another one of these.
Yeah, these are so easy, man. I wanted to keep this all in the slushy snow cone popsicle family.
Yeah.
So because my wife brought me a snow cone today, and it was fantastic, and I haven't had one, in almost a year or better.
Really?
So my choices here are: you can only choose one. The rest are gone forever.
Man.
Popsicles, Italian ice, snow cone. I put slushy, but I really meant to put Slurpee, which like the 7-Eleven Slurpee.
Yeah.
And then the icy.
So obviously the Slurpee icy thing is slushy is the winner, but for me, I think I would keep the Italian ice.
Yeah.
Like I like the thicker Italian ice more so than the other stuff, because the other, like, I feel like the Italian ice doesn't give me a headache the moment I take a bite of it, whereas the other stuff is immediate, like, oh God, stop.
And you could go like ice creamy on the Italian ice if you want to.
Oh, dude, Rita's, baby. Oh,
yeah.
Rita's is heaven. I don't ever get ices there, but the girls do. I always just go for the frozen custard. They're like, hi, welcome to Rita's Italian ice. Hey, good for you on the Italian ice. Give me the custard with sprinkles, colored. Thank you. Yes, I'm a winner.
Sprinkles are for winners.
That's me, baby.
I want to give a special shout out to the Slurpee, like the 7-Eleven Slurpee.
Oh,
I totally love that. But beside that, I'm a snow cone guy.
Really?
I think they pretty much got it right. In the group did.
All right, so you know shaved ice, right? Which is basically a snow cone for the most part. All right, so in Maui or Hawaii, they have little stands on the side of the road that just literally that's all they do. They got the big block of ice and the razor blade is just and they make, and they sit there and they do this, and then they put your shit all over it. Apparently, at the time when we got married, that was the only place in the world that could figure out how to make Maui shaved ice. And so when we honeymooned there, because Suzanne lives there, don't everyone freak out. It was like we had a place to stay, and they paid for the rental car. No, it was like
him and Derek with their YouTube millions.
Yeah. Okay. But dude, that's all we did was eat shaved ice. It was like, where are we going today? Oh, I don't know, but I bet you they have shaved ice. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I think we had it every day we were there. It was like we found one little stand that we liked and we said, hey, let's drive down and get some shaved ice. I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Right.
Why didn't
our favorite one closed down forever. I mean, this was the best shaved ice place ever. And for whatever reason, my wife's seen on Facebook that it closed down. But we would like, have you ever tried the sugar-free shaved ice?
No.
Okay. Listen, like it tastes fine, but for whatever reason, the whatever sweetener they use, like clumped up the ice.
Yeah.
So it just like ruined the whole thing.
Ugh.
So yeah, I don't recommend the sugar-free. I mean, just have the one sugar.
I mean, if you're eating shit, just eat it all the way. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Like I get the whole Diet Coke thing and the Coke Zero, like totally makes sense to me, but I mean, to me, it's like, why not just drink water? I don't like the taste of water.
Yeah.
Okay, well then drink that shit and deal with it.
Yeah.
You know. Oh my gosh.
We have a topic today.
We do.
And this one that you picked, it actually came to us from a viewer. It came to me. Here it is right here. Kiss Audio, aka Aaron Todessa. I believe that's how you say his last name. He said to me, he's like, I think this would be a good topic because installers have to be mechanics, software engineers, and many other things in 2021 versus maybe what you would do back in the day.
I think he sent me the same. I think I got the same thing, and he told me that he sent it to you. So it's kind of like I treated it like when somebody says, "Well, I told your wife too," and I was like,
yeah. She got it.
I fucking Dumbledored that shit right out of my ear and put it in my pensive dish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You told Hi-Fi? Fuck, it's done, bro.
You got it. I almost
make
did the
it
same
so.
thing.
Number one, make it so.
Oh, he told me. He told you. Oh, okay. The other guy got it. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. I'm out. Oh gosh. All right. So yeah, no, I mean, and immediately too, I thought it was a wonderful topic because I mean, I look at how over the years, all the people I've hired, Fernando being the last one, hopefully that I will ever have to deal with again, and I will keep paying him more just so he doesn't go someplace else. Like one of these, here's another $100. But it was funny because like back then, back in the 90s, we wanted somebody that could, that just understood the basics of car audio because it was like alarms they're again not the most advanced things in the world. It was pretty simple to put an alarm in a car. There wasn't a lot to it. So as long as you knew your way around a car, then you could do pretty much anything. So honestly, most of the time we hired thieves. Like a lot of the guys we hired were thieves, no shit, because they were like, I'm just tired of being a thief. I want to get paid to do this instead of going to jail. And I was like, okay. So they knew their way around cars. So it was like, awesome. And that was the first couple installers we had. And really when we looked at, like when I would hire someone, there's always the kid that would show up and be like, look at the box I built. I'd be like, that's so cool. Like, awesome.
You took shop class.
Show me your install. How did you run your wires? How did you do this? And they'd always be like, oh, well, I mean, it's like, listen, dude, we don't need a box builder. I need a guy that can put electronics in a car. Like, I do all that. I just need an installer. I don't need a box builder. I don't need a fabricator. I don't need any of that. I need an installer. Can you install? And, sometimes I could and sometimes I couldn't. And I think this is one of the downsides to this industry is that we just expect the one guy to know everything. Yeah. And it's like, that sucks because you're the master of none. You're good. You're a little good at just about everything. So, I mean, if you break it down. All right. So first and foremost, apparently you have to be a box builder. All right. So you have to be a basic carpenter. You have to know how to make 6 sides in a hole. You have to understand basic math. Although that is becoming less and less important with the advent of companies that will pre-make boxes for you. I'm not going to call them pre-mades, but that will custom make the boxes and ship them to you. That is becoming a whole business onto itself, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yes.
You and me both.
It's like, I mean, MTI makes great boxes. Down for Sound, that guy, that works for him. That kid makes some amazing boxes. Gately boxes are just ridiculous. There's a company over here by us called SRQ that makes some really nice boxes. Just to name a few, there's a ton of them that will make to order whatever you want, which is wonderful. And then, of course, there's still like the generic ones that it's like, hey, we have a Honda Accord box. It's this many cubic feet. Will that work for you? Yeah, it's close enough. So, understanding the pointy end of a saw to be a carpenter was always like, okay, that's important. So you have to know how to do that. So that was a basic trait. And I think that's what started a lot of people into car audio. Was like everyone just wanted to build stuff. Myself included. I really didn't care about anything else. I just really enjoyed woodworking. So it was like, I just want to build shit.
Yeah, and breathe in formaldehyde all day.
All day. As much.
Dude, MDF. Can we just sidejack on MDF for a second?
Yeah.
Dude. I was hardcore MDF for the longest time. It's like I'm not using plywood. I'm not using this stuff. And once I went to plywood, like MDF, the dust, it doesn't matter what you do, what dust collection you have. It's going to be everywhere on everything.
Oh, it's disgusting. That's why we don't use any of it.
And then, when I went to plywood, I was like, yeah, I'm never, ever building an MDF box because I'm saving, 40 pounds per enclosure. It's less sawdust, easier to cut. I can just stain it if I want to.
We used MDF for a very long time, and then we switched from MDF to Ultralight, which is pine dust. Is what they make that out of, and we made everything out of that. And I was like, because it's like 30 pounds lighter.
Yeah. And I was like, wasn't there a brand name for that? I remember that stuff.
Yes, I just call it Ultralight. So when I called them up, I said I need Ultralight, and they're like, "You got it."
Yeah,
and they'd be like, they'd send, and it was always a different color when it came, and I was like,
"Who cares?
I'm paying for A grade, but I feel like I'm getting B."
Yeah, that's like buying Rosewood.
Yeah, no, this is A grade. It's A grade, really, because like the last 50 sheets I got didn't look anything like this. Oh no, man, no, it's nothing like that. But. Yeah, no. So when we switched to Ultralight, that was a whole nother like, oh my God, because like for sanding and sculpting and just, and it was so light. You'd build a bandpass, and it was like,
it was hard to find. It was hard to find for us around here. We were stuck. Oh, and then did you ever do that? A heavy duty fiberboard, the HDF? No. Dude,
fuck that.
We were down. Yeah, we were down. You just think like it's heavier, it's better, and technically maybe it is, but it's not worth it.
Well, see, the problem is the one thing I'd run into is that with MDF, dude, it just ate up router bits and saw blades, and like I was going through because all right, so I would assembly line build these things, so I would always nail the ports on the inside of the box and get it all built. And then I would plunge cut out with the bearing bit the ports, so everything was perfectly flush. And then I would, cut out the holes for the subwoofers. And like I literally watching everyone used to just stand there and watch me build boxes because they're like that's so cool. Because I made it the most efficient way possible. It's like I had a router bit to do I had a router to do everything. So everything that needed to be done was like, here's this router, drill hole. Like I had an air drill that had a router that had a drill bit in it that was just for drilling the holes, so I could plunge cut out the ports. And then I had a router that had the round over bit, and then it was like I had the tool to find the cross point, so I could drill in the next, which was the hole saw. router, and then it was like done. And they just look at you and they're like, wow. And I'd be like, yeah. And I always make the top panels like an 1/8 inch taller, so that if the box was just a little crooked when you nailed it together, I would always the last thing I'd do is flush cut the tops so that it was always perfectly square. And everyone would be like,
I do the same thing.
That's such a cool idea. I'm like, yeah, try building a few thousand boxes and you come up with some neat tricks.
What was your carpet? How are you on wrapping carpet?
Oh, dude. So above my head is where we stored all the carpet. So we would buy whole rolls of carpet. So the whole roll.
Yeah.
Not rolls, the whole roll. And above my head there was black, gray, tan, 2 tans, trunk liner, light and dark. And so I have, I had the big shears, the big shears, and to this side was a wall that I built that was just covered in tar paper. And there was a bar across it with 2 clamps. And so I would crawl up there, and I knew how long they needed to be, and I would cut it. I'd walk it over, and I'd hang it up, clip it, spray the glue on it, and then I had a stand that the boxes would sit on, and I'd spray the glue on top of that, and then set the box on top of my workbench. Once it was dry, take the carpet over my head so I couldn't see what I was doing. Go, so it's like this, and I just stick it on there. Do this, flip the box, like roll it like a Christmas present. Yep. And then I'd get the seam. I'd cut the seam with the razor blade, pull the scrap off, tuck the ends, put my panels on. I could carpet a box in like 10 minutes and it'd be perfect every time. Yeah. And then what I would do is I'd set the round over bit just a little bit too deep. So that would put a groove, and I would just cut the carpet along that groove. And I always would inset the center brace like an extra 1.5 inches, so it looked like one big port. And then 1.5 inches in was actually the divider. Cut that out, and then spray paint the shit out of that, and I was done.
Dude, I always failed. Like, I never rabbited the ends.
Right.
I didn't learn this trick until YouTube. So I was just doing either the triangle or the little half moon.
Yeah.
It never looks as good as you hope it's going to. I mean, people that do it every day
starts.
But
it's honestly, even doing it every day sucks. Like I got to the point where I was like, so what I would do is I just kept a piece of 1/4 inch, like hardboard, and that was my gauge for how far I had to inset the end. So I would just add in every box I build. I'd always add in an extra 1/2 inch of airspace. So that I get the math right. And then when I was, I just had this board that literally just had a spot on my desk. I'd take it out, line it up, pow, 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 flip it over, pow, and I'd build the sides and then the back and the center. And I mean, dude, we would knock these things out like they were, giving freaking boxes away. I mean, it was silly. I mean, because that was always the first step for building the trunk flush, was getting the box built. And you wanted to spend as little time as possible doing that because you needed to get onto the trunk flush, which you knew was going to take way too long. So, it's like, oh, man, all right, how big does this box need to be? All right, perfect. Build the box, put it in there. And I said, okay, now we got to build all the pretty shit.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's probably the worst part. Like, the boxes around here, dude, they were stupid expensive. Back in the day, 350 was kind of unheard of for a box back then. But back then, I'm 17. I don't really understand what it takes to build an enclosure this way. So yeah, there was a lot of prefabs back in those days for me.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I would have loved to have done prefabs. Oh my God. I was like, could we please just sell prefabs? Because, oh no, we like making custom. I'm like, no, we don't. You do. I don't like doing this crap. I'm over this shit. When I went to 5-star and Paul's like, yeah, we can build boxes, we can do all this shit. And I was the one-man gang, and he'd never done that before. And it was like, all right, so we got to build a box for this. I'm like, wait, what? Wait a minute. Hold on, dude. Like, line the day up. Lay this all out for me. All right. What you just said can't get done. That's like a 3-day project worth of stuff. And you're thinking we're going to do this in a day? I'm like, you do realize it takes like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to build a box for that car? Really? Yeah, dude.
And that's like very quick. It's very quick to build an enclosure.
I mean, it's like we have to build it. I have to make a template, make sure the template fits, and then I have to figure out the airspace, and then I have to build it, and I have to carpet it, And then I have to clean everything up so I can actually start putting the stuff in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, so quickly building boxes became like, that's not part of this deal. You know,
I could understand how this went. I see exactly how this went. So it's like starting off like you're like, yeah, we can do this, and then you start putting the dean on them. Like, this is why we shouldn't do this. And then at the end of the conversation, it was Paul's idea. Like, yeah, we're not even going to do custom boxes. We'll just do prefabs. You incepted the idea into his head by the end of the situation.
Yeah, but it was more motivation of money, because
Right.
it's like, you know, if you just buy these, like, just buy this and we'll make that money. And it's like, there's no time involved other than you. Hey, you know, because he's like, money. Like, I had to walk into the stockroom the other day, which I refused to go into just because I refused to go in there. And I was like, oh my God, never mind. I'm out of here. I about killed myself trying to get out of there. I was like, oh my God. And in the stockroom is just boxes. It's boxes on I mean, we stock so many boxes. I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, you know, because we stock Fox boxes, and we stock A-Trend boxes, and we stock Power whatever boxes, and we stock custom one-off boxes, and we, you know, it's like, you know, and then we'll order you an MTI box if you want an MTI box. And, you know, when Frostbite boxes, before he went out of business, we had Frostbite boxes in stock. And it's just like, you know, I'm like, why do we need the $79 box? Oh, because I'm like, dude, no, let's just not sell those. Those are garbage. Oh yeah, but somebody's gonna want it. I'm like, oh my God, like,
have them carry it out the door with them.
Oh, they do. We don't
putting them in.
Oh, dude, 100%, man. I mean, honestly, no, no, it's a high service item. I don't like putting in anything. It's a high service item. That's ridiculous.
Well, I wonder if sometimes Paul's sitting up there. It's like, yeah, don't even tell Dean about this. Like, we're not going to bother him with this because we don't know what he's going to do.
Are you kidding me? 100%. 100%. Like, I walked over the other day and there's like Jensen stuff on the shelf, and I was like, really? He goes, dude, I just need radios, man. We just need radios. I'm like, okay, whatever, back off.
He was just sorry. He was already defeated. Like, listen. Let me just level with you, Dean.
But
radios are out of stock everywhere. I need some.
Yeah. So the pandemic was the best thing for JVC ever, because, like, you know, all right. So we have Kenwood, Pioneer, Alpine, some Sony. Some, not a lot. We don't do a lot with Sony just because how you got to buy it. And that was enough. I'm like, dude, there's 4 brands right there. If we can't make it happen with those. And he wanted to bring in JVC. And I was like, absolutely not. We're not bringing in JVC. What do we need JVC for? Well, because of the pandemic, it was like, dude, that was like he's like, dude, man, I got to bring in JVC. And I was like, oh, just bring it in. You know, just whatever, bring it in. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah. And so now we have JVC. And it's like, which I'm fine with, because I really like their big 10-inch floater or 9-inch floater or whatever it is. Like, to me, I think it's cool as shit. So, but I had to play it off like, you know, fine.
You had to. You can't just let them win easily like that.
No,
you know, it's kind of like, okay, I'm letting you do this. So
yeah, exactly.
So you owe me one. You know, speaking of Sony, it reminds me, you had told me, I can't remember when, but that Mobile ES was coming back.
Well, I told you they were going to come out with some new stuff, but they wouldn't tell us about it, but that they were going to have us talk about it at some point. Yeah, so Mobile ES came back.
Yeah, well, that stuff flew right out of my mind. I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's going to be cool. Derek sends me the link to the component sets. Dude, I don't know how good they're going to be, but I like the way they look.
You like the yellow?
I like the large format tweeter.
Yeah, that doesn't fit anything. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, for you. But for me, I want that big tweeter, man. Yeah.
Dude, there's plenty of big tweeters out there. There's
I like so big tweeters. I cannot lie.
Millie Legends are big-ass tweeters that sound spectacular. You know, there's a lot of big tweeters out there. Dude, the Kenwood Exelon tweeter that comes with the 7-inch set, that's a giant tweeter. And now it actually sounds like a big ass tweeter. So that's a bonus. Yeah, the Sony ES line we were pretty excited about. The only downside is because of COVID, we got like this much of it, and it's like, oh, man, because we're all waiting to see what they were going to do with it, and then we were like,
it's just like 3 things.
Yeah,
that we know of that the general public knows of.
Yeah, and it's going to be so much more. But we're just like, all right.
Well, I don't pre-order anything, and I'm not going to pre-order these, even though I wanted to.
Right.
I'm going to wait until you put your ears on them and tell me what you think. Because if they even get like a 6 or a 7, I'm probably ordering them.
Well, so we just did a rescue on a 4Runner this week or last week, I think. I don't remember. He had the Sony 3-way set in it, and I had never actually heard the Sony 3-way set. I knew
the GS.
Yeah, I've heard the 2-way set. We've put plenty of those in, but I'd never done the 3-way set, and so I was kind of anxious. But when I heard him in the first time, he's like, man, these things sound terrible, and I was like, yeah, they do. But I mean, you got your stereo all jacked up, so he's like, yeah, I want to do some sound treatment. I want to do all this anyway. So we got all in. And I'm like, he had him powered off a JL 905, the big one. I don't know which one it was, R something or whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just get this thing apart and figure out what's going on, and we'll come up with a plan. And so what's cool about their 3-way set is that it's a biampable 3-way set, in that the mid bass is off on its own channel, and then the tweeter and the mid are on the other channel, which is like how a lot of manufacturers do it. So like most cars that have a 3-way set, the tweeter and the mid are on one channel. They don't break those two apart. So to do it that way, I was like, oh man, that's like super smart. I wish other manufacturers would do that. But nobody does, except for Focal with the K2s. The K2 3-way set is that way. But I mean, that's like 5 times the amount of money is that. So like these entry-level sets don't do that. And it's just kind of a real bummer, because like what we ended up doing is taking the 5-channel amp and just putting it 1 and 2 on the mid and the tweet, and 3 and 4 on the mid bass, and giving us that control. And holy shit, man. It just... it brought this thing to life. I mean, it was like, wow, this is.
I think those sets don't sound bad. Even the 2-way for the money. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, you can't beat them for the money.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent performer.
Yeah, and it's a nice looking speaker. I mean, they had jacked this whole thing up. I mean, it was just like, Jesus Christ, guys, come on, really? It's amazing. There was a screw right through the 16-gauge speaker wire, and how it didn't cut both sides is just beyond me. Because I'm like, wow. I mean,
it just went through the jacket.
It just went it went right through the middle, but it only shredded one side.
Oh,
it didn't. I was like, dude, you're the luck. And then it pinched it. Then like 6 inches down, it was pinched where it got smashed into something. And I was like,
yeah,
the whole thing was just like, it was just sad. There again, another stereo shop that just did a crappy job, and it's like, man.
Now they got to pay real money to get it fixed.
Let's not even talk about that. That's a whole nother topic that just kind of annoyed the shit out of me. I don't even want to go there on that one. So anyway, Carpenter for one, we've got that one hammered out. What's your next contributing?
Let's say this. So I know that there's a vehicle you were talking about that if you unhook the battery, you've got to do something. Is it a Honda?
It's a Honda Accord.
Like that's something you only know by messing it up.
That's the only. Yes, that's like it's almost like a trip to the hospital. With like this is the big one.
I'm coming.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm there. I'm there. I mean, that is a sick feeling in your gut that you're just like. It's like, I need to go take a shit.
This is intense.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a shit. I need to just take a shit for like an hour because I can't deal with this crap. And who knew? You know, who knew?
So what's it do exactly? I forgot.
All right. So what happens is this was 2019's installer or trusted tech video. I don't remember which one it was. The big Honda Accord we did. Hey, there's your girl. Hey, baby girl.
Oh, there you go. Hey. Yeah, man.
What's
Chrissy talking to the Deanster.
So we were trying to get it done. We're in a hurry.
I like the sigh.
Yeah, it's just so we weren't in a hurry. Guy drove in from out of town, and we're doing the system. I don't remember what the hell we put in. It's in a video, so I'm sure somebody can watch it. And we had disconnected the battery because I think we took the seats out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we didn't want to deal with the airbags and all that other crap. So here we're thinking, do the right thing, disconnect the battery because you're taking the seats out. Don't want to trip the airbag light. And it's a Honda. The chances of that happening is like,
yeah.
But it's a brand new Honda, so who the hell knows, right? You know, that's the problem with it's like, did they change the protocol? Because they've never changed. You know, it's like some cars, you can literally take the airbag light out of the car, take the seats out of the car, take the steering wheel out of the car, dance around the car, plug it all back in, start the car a dozen times with it unplugged, roll the windows up and down, do whatever you want, and like nothing.
Yeah.
You know, no warnings or anything. I'm sure when they go to the dealer, it's like code. But it's not telling the consumer like, hey, something's wrong with your car. It's smart enough to go, oh, and plug back in. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah,
That's
not.
right, thanks.
Dean just effed up your car. Bro,
yeah,
Dean just effed up your car.
Yeah. So, you know, we're like, what the fuck? So it's late at night, way later than it needs, like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Put the car all back together, turn it on to take a listen, and you know, you don't even think about it. You just like turn it on, turn the key off, turn the car on, turn the key, you know, on, off, on, whatever. You're just doing your shit, trying to get it all working. And then it's like now it's time to start it up, and it's like mirror's not functioning properly. See dealer. Taillight not functioning properly. See dealer. Wheels aren't round anymore. See dealer. Anti-fog mirroring not working. See dealer. I mean, literally, it was like a fucking and you're just going, does the car even have that? Like, what the fuck is that? TPS sensor's not working. See dealer. Yeah. And you're just like, every system failed. And you're like, there is no fucking way every system has failed in this car. Okay, because you got to understand, like in that car, to do a stereo in that car, all you have to do is get the T-harness from Metra, all right? You pull the radio out, you unplug the factory radio, all right? Yeah. You plug the T-harness in to get the four pairs of wire out of it, and that is it. Like, that's it. There is nothing else. Like, you can run new wires into the door. You can run new wires up to the tweeters. There is nothing that gets touched. It's like the best car in the world to put a stereo in because you don't have to do shit. One plug. Yeah. I mean, it's like, dude, you literally unplug it, plug it back in, you're back to factory and that quick. And it's like, oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So, you know, we're just like, oh my God, what the fuck? And so you disconnect the battery and you take it for a ride. Sorry, Dennis. I know. It's that night, man. It's just one of those nights. You know, it's the room. Yeah. So most of the time, some cars, like Volkswagen will always give you some kind of light, like steering sensor, brake pad warning, you know, some bullshit. Yeah. You're just like, unless it's an airbag. Never unplug the airbag in a Volkswagen. If there's an airbag on the dash in a Volkswagen, never unplug it. Ever. Just leave it the fuck alone. It'll unclip from the dash. Just do that. Don't do anything else because you will get a light no matter what, and you will have to go and have it reset. It totally sucks because there's no reason for it. They just douchebags. So, you know, but the nice thing is like in a Volkswagen, you literally have to roll it 10 feet and it'll go, oh, yeah, cool. I'm good. no, thanks. And you're like, all right, cool, that's sweet, except for the airbag. So you know, you're fine with that. Some Nissan sometimes will do some weird thing with the steering column. There again, you drive it for like 10 seconds, and it's like, oh yeah, no, that's good. So it's just one of those things that you learn. But so for the Honda, it's like, okay, take it for a spin around the building. Spin around the building. Fucking Christmas lights, shit on sale, Christmas lights. And you're just going, what the fuck, man? So Fernando's driving around, nothing's happening. Gets it up to speed, nothing's happening. We pull it back in. And, you know, this customer. There you go, Fuego. It's been that kind of week, man. I apologize, guys. I apologize, all those pygmies and all that, you know. Whatever. Fuck it. So brought up the topic. So, anyways, disconnect the battery, and you disconnect power and ground. And if you shunt between the two, it will drain all the capacitors and restart everything. Okay, so when you dead short the battery terminals to nothing, meaning when they're both off the battery, and you do this, that'll drain all the capacitors in the system, and it'll everything is now back to like we got nothing. Yeah. Connect them both back up to the battery, start up the car. Immediately when you turn on the car, it says, "Take car for a drive." Okay, start the car up, back it out. Literally, back it out of the install bay. Nothing. Pull it back in. He goes, yeah, that was it.
And how'd you find that out? Did you call the dealership? Or
no, fuck, dude, it's 1:30 in the morning. There's no calling the dealership.
Google?
There's just me, Fernando, and baby Jesus on the wall, and we're just praying to him like, we know we don't ever talk to you, but, you know, hey, could you
need your help,
hey,
bro.
JC, like, could you hook us up for a minute? I mean, throw us a fucking bone, bro. You know,
so that comes into being an automotive technician, part of being an installer in 2021.
Well, yeah, or you have to know somebody that, like, I have my guy, this guy named Andrew, and I've told the story about Andrew before, but Andrew is like the technician's technician. This guy, he's a genius, man, and he's got all the cool tools, and he's a big car audio fan. So it's like Porsche. The stupid SUV, they do some really dumb shit. Because like you have to disconnect the seat to get to the battery. To disconnect the battery so you can take the seat out. So no matter what you do, you're going to trip something because you can't get the battery out because the seat's in the way. And you're just going, oh my God, this is so stupid. Like, why would you design a system that's going to trip the airbag light because you're trying to change the... oh, fuck me.
Have you noticed all the problems come in with German engineers and cars?
No, Volvo's pretty bad too.
What are they, like Swedish?
I don't know what they are. They're spawn of Satan. So Volvo...
Who buys Volvos anymore?
Somebody that wants to drive safe and have low insurance. I don't know, but it's funny you mentioned that because last night we went out to eat, and the friends that we met, he had just bought a brand new Volvo, and he was all excited. He's like, "Look at my new baby," and I was like, I'm just laughing on the inside, going, "Who the fuck buys a Volvo?"
Yeah, that's exactly what I think.
And he was talking about how low his insurance went down, and I'm like, "That's who buys a Volvo."
Yeah, well, my neighbor's got one. Nice. She's a really nice woman, but
yeah, I mean, it looked nice.
It's a good looking car.
Baby Jesus is watching. Thank you, Kip. And he's laughing his ass off.
He's watching, and he's like, no. Yeah. You don't get to call him favors after all these years.
Oh, no. Well, see, to me, I go, listen, I know you don't owe me anything personally, but Fernando
Do it, Fernando. He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
And honestly, that's what I will pray for him, for someone that's like, listen, I know you don't owe me nothing. Yeah. This guy, on the other hand, he's like, he's high and believes in you. You know, he's like, you know, he like burns candles and stuff. There's probably one in his car that he's going to go light here in a minute if we don't figure this shit out. So, but no, Volvo. So like Volvo, we figured out years ago that like, it doesn't matter what you do. Even a radio in the dash that doesn't have anything to do with the airbag, if you unplug it, you're going to get an airbag light if the battery's connected. And you're just going, are you kidding me? Like, seriously, are you kidding me? It's like the airbag light is over above the freaking glove box. But no, it's like, and disconnecting the battery is such a pain in the ass because it's like there's always something you have to test, and it's like, especially if you're integrating into a stereo. Oh my God, it's like today we were after we got done with the car we worked on, we had the second car to work on, and it's like, okay, so we need to find out. We had to hook up high level. It's got a lexicon system, it's fiber optic amplifier, dual voice coil subwoofer. We immediately need to know how much voltage is coming out of this amplifier to that subwoofer, and does it have DC offset? Okay, so it'll turn on the amplifier. So it's like, okay, hop in the car, throw the phone in, 40 hertz test track, 0 dB, crank it up. Fernando's in the front seat. I'm back there with my meter. All right, so we got like 9.5 volts. Cool, it's under 10 volts. Most amplifiers can take under 10 volts of high level input. So we're golden there. Shuts off the car. I go put my voltmeter away, and I'm like, God, I forgot to test for DC offset. So then you got to walk back over to the car, hook it up, plug it in, test for DC offset. And you're like, okay, for those who don't DC offset, it's a 6-volt carrier wave that comes over the amplifier. You put your positive to speaker lead, ground, DC on the meter, and it should say 6 volts. Some of the newer systems say 3 volts. And for all you kicker fans out there, you'll love that because it has the new, what's on the box of the key behind you? That little red logo in the top right-hand corner. Fit 2?
Fit 2, yes.
Yeah,
Fit 2
if it has,
plus.
Yeah, Fit 2 Plus will read that 3 volts and turn on and off. They're one of the only companies that advertise doing that. I don't know how many of the rest of them do. And that Fit Plus was really nice the other day because we were doing one, and I was like, 3 volts? Son of a... Oh, we're doing a kicker. No problem.
Yeah. Hey,
let me tell you what. Kicker key, I have a love-hate relationship with. You either love a kicker key or you can just... Kicker key can go...
Yeah.
Can make your day really long.
Oh, when you hear the sad tone?
Oh, no, you never hear the sad tone. You just you get excited when... Oh, no, we never hear the sad tone. We just get in the car and our face has the sad tone of like... Why is it playing from the driver's front speaker only? What? There's 3 other speakers. Make noise. So we had to do some really creative systeming today that we had never done because we had a guy come in and he drove here from Arizona to have us wire in his kicker key 501, and he already had the 204 in there. So he's like, and he put all new KS, took all his DS speakers out, put new KS speakers in. And it was like, okay, cool. And so I looked at the install on he did a nice job. He did a good job on the 204. It was all like, he bought the Taco Tunes harness. Everything was tech flexed, and he built our amp rack, and he couldn't get the 3rd bolt in because it was too thick. And I'm just looking, I mean, he put zip ties, did everything like we would do it, just not as good, obviously, because he's not a professional. And it was like, oh, this is cool. So it made taking out real easy. Because I was like, let's just take it out and redo it. Because as soon as I pulled the radio out of the dash, there was like 6 extra feet of Taco Tunes harness. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. But what we wanted to do was the 2.5 KS and the dash. I wanted those on their own channel because I didn't want to run them with the 6x9s. Because I was like, that's just going to be stupid. So I was like, all right, we'll put the key in on 1 and 2, the KS 2s, and 3 and 4 will be the KS 6x9s. But he didn't buy they don't make a mid bass. He didn't buy the combo pack. He bought the 2-ways. And I was like, this is going to be weird. So first we set it up for biamp mode.
So 2-way 6.5s, just so I'm clear, with the middler.
2-way 6x9s. With the middler. The middler in the dash, 6x9, 2-ways in the door.
Oh, that is weird.
And it was. So we set it up for biamp mode, and it sounded terrible because it's like, it automatically thinks that the 3 and 4 is a mid bass, so it shut the tweeters off. And I was like, yeah, it'd probably be okay, but now there's no tweeter in there, and the middler really wasn't going full crazy on us. So I was like, that's kind of weird. So what we ended up doing is setting it up for front only, but turning off the the mode, the network mode. Yeah, that mode. And so then we reran it like for the 10th time and let it think that this was 1 and 2, these were 3 and 4, but it let these play tweeter and then let these play, but now it's not using the passive now it's not using a crossover because it's thinking, oh, you're just going to flip the disc switches. And I was like, no. So then we had to pull them back out, put caps on them so that they wouldn't blow because they were just up there going, I'm like, yeah, those ain't going to last because they're just up there going, wow. Yeah, I'm going, yeah,
40
60 hertz. Well, I put it at 60 because it's 6x9s, and I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. And I didn't want to, I wanted the 6x9s to play.
Right.
So we quickly threw some caps on it, and then, it was like playing the magic game with the mic and trying to get the mic to move the center over, and then it was like, oh my god. And then we were like, all right, well, it needs more treble. And so then it was like, all right, let's turn the treble down on the radio like 2 notches and run it again. So then it'll auto EQ it, thinking the treble is lower, and then it'll turn the treble back to 0, and then it'll boost the treble. And it was like hacks for the kicker key day. It was all like we were literally doing as many hacks as we could. I hear Dean more features making notes.
Dean just needs a USB plug into it, Kip.
Oh, dude, it's funny you mentioned that because I was going,
let me do this.
I'm like, I need the backdoor software into the kicker key because all I needed to do, for one, it's weird. This is the one thing that kind of threw me off. And this, the gain controls on the kicker key are not sensitive enough. Like they need to be like, because like you get no gain. I don't know how your kicker key is set up, but you probably didn't get much gain out of the kicker key. Like it's like here's all the way down, and you probably have it like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
At one point, I had it all the way down.
Correct. Yeah. So it needs to be shifted so that there's less. Like it needs to go closer to no sound than sound, because it's like 90% of these are getting installed in a high-level application. So we need more down, because that was the thing. I was like, okay, so the fronts need to be lower, but I have them all the way down. So all right, so I'm gonna have to turn the radio plateau down so I can get more out of 3 and 4.
Which is exactly what I done. Yeah, I had to have the radio at a lower volume because, like I said, at one point I had my gains all the way down. Yeah, and I was like, I feel like I need them up just a little bit because I feel like it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. So I adjusted.
I needed these 6x9s to play up louder. So I was like, all right, so I had to be like, look, 50 is your max instead of 70. And then we can turn the gain up on 3 and 4 and get more of that mid bass out of those doors, because these were just like, I'm like, and I'm going, man, if I just had an into that software so I could just do level control, like, I just want to be able to, like, I just wanted to turn this one down. I'm like, I just need to turn this one down like 2 clicks, and it would be like,
you need to take a video. Every time that happens, take a video and then send it to Kip. Be like, Kip, this is why I don't like you right now.
No, I would never do that. I would send it to Fernando, the guy who, the guy who made it, and be like, thinking of you, buddy.
Got him again.
But he's too nice of a guy. I could never do that because he's such a sweetheart. It would be like, he'd be over there going, why did he send that to me? I thought he liked me.
Kip and his virtual winks.
Yeah, Key DSP. Yeah, I know where that's at in the progress pipeline. Yeah, it's okay. I can neither confirm nor deny any of these things that Kip is talking about, because I'm in a small room and Bart's a small guy, and I don't want him to come out and be like,
just take you
out.
You
signed that paper. I saw you do
it. Like the old hook, when they put you off stage.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Well, hell. All right. So we'll continue this conversation next week, which is a great topic. And I like to be able to just beat it up. So next week, I think that's what we'll do, is we'll just take it week by week. This week, we decided you need to be a carpenter. And then we went into Dean's side jag antics of like stressful moments in my life. Thank you. What do you got planned? What do you got coming up?
Side
jag in 15 minutes.
What do I have? Oh, I got all new merch up. I redone all my merch.
Yes, I saw that.
So I don't have a link, but it's, if you go to my YouTube channel, which you're at now, and go to the store, you can check it all out.
There you go. Yeah.
And I'm working on, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to build a binaural microphone.
Good luck with that. I can't wait.
For speaker testing. So I'm going to build it, and then we'll test it and see how it works. We'll do the snaps on the right, snap on the left. We'll see how it sounds.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds neat. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the time, we got the beer.
For sure. We'll try it.
I have none of that. I would like some time. Dude, we got so much shit I'd just love to test. Like, I have that Dayton whole speaker testing rig thing that they made. Like, I guess, yeah, that's it. I don't know. It's in a box. Somebody sent me one and like, hey, try this out. I was like, and it's just sitting there on the shelf. Like, man, one of these days we'll get to play with that. It'll probably be obsolete by the time we get to open it. We did do an amp dyno the other day live.
I watched it.
Dude,
I didn't watch it live, but I watched it afterwards. So
yeah, that was neat to do. And of course, then I cut it out and because I wanted to just release it so everyone could see it. And all the comments I got with Big D is gonna be on you, bro. I'm like, seriously? Like, I mean, I thought we did a really good job of pointing out, like, hey, this is how we're gonna use this. We're not gonna do anything like he does, just so it's like, because he's got that. Like, I don't need to do anything that he's doing because he's got that. It's like we're gonna do all this other stuff that he doesn't do. And oh man, Big D's gonna be on you, bro. I'm like,
that's what I test is all stuff that Derek would never test.
Right.
He doesn't test a lot of 4-channel amps.
No.
He doesn't test a lot of, kind of weird amps that aren't high volume
and he
amps.
Sure as hell ain't testing a Morel amp.
For sure, yeah.
Ain't no one testing those.
There's so many, listen, Derek comes up to me every week with some weird, cheap amp that I've never in my life heard of. And I was like, where do you find this stuff,
Amazon.
man? I know, but he's getting stuff that's not even on Amazon. Dude's I don't know. He's out there, man. He's got tentacles in all the cheap places, and he knows where to find them.
Yeah, see, I'm not in any of those places. I don't go to any of those places. Like those doors don't even open for me. That's like I walk up and they're like,
yeah,
sorry, douche, you can't come in here.
Oh, appreciate it, Casey. Dino cuss for you anytime you like.
Oh yeah, especially today. I'd like to say we got a whole bunch of stuff planned, but we don't. I don't even know if you guys are going to get a video tomorrow. I got to be honest with you because this week went sideways so fast for me, and we got the Avalon is all queued up and ready to start editing, but I don't want to give everyone the first episode on a Friday. To me, that was just, it's like, you're going to get 10 minutes of us just, and then nothing.
And then I'm gonna get part 2 shows up and I'm like, damn it.
Part 2 would be Wednesday. And I just know people will be like,
yeah. I'm like that sometimes. I watch it and I'm getting into it. Just so I'm getting into it, it's like you hear the music, it's like part 2 or part 1, come on.
I know. And I was like, oh man, I just don't, I would rather just be like, look, we had a real busy week. There's tons of stuff to go watch. Go watch the dash camera thing with Seth. That was incredible. I mean, we went through so much equipment that day. If you want to know anything about dash cams, Seth just lit it up. Dude, it took us like a half hour to clean up that mess when we were done. We had dash cam crap everywhere. And honestly, we were all surprised. Definitely, Casey. We were all surprised that everything worked flawlessly, with the exception of the app. The easiest thing was to get the desktop app to work. We couldn't get that to work, but every phone connected, it was nothing. And I'm going, that never happens. When we're recording, we'll sit. That's 20 minutes of off-camera shit trying to get and it worked flawlessly every time, which is just a testament to how good these things are. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So if you guys need dash cams, interested in dash cams, want to know about dash cams, go check out the video with Seth. Fast forward through the good parts, whatever you want to do. And then a lot of the questions that you might have are actually in the comments because people were asking, and then Josh, Seth's partner, or coworker, I should say, or underling, or whatever you want to call him, was in the comments answering all the questions. So there's a ton of awesome information there in dash cams. So I'm super excited. We have one to put in Haley's car, but I had to order in some parts because we want to make it super easy for everyone to do that wants to do a dash cam. So we have a bunch of things that we're going to build So we have a 2-part video that we're going to shoot on how to put a dash cam in. So look for that sometime in 2021. But with that being said, that's the end of the show. That's all we got. But Side Jag is coming up next. So make sure
dude, I'm failed. I meant to have the link. I'm going to get it now.
Okay, but make sure you guys head over to the YouTube channel, Side Jag, where we're going to review the movie Tenet. And we have a special guest, which honestly is worth watching just for the special guest. I'm not going to lie.
I think so. This will be the first time that he's ever on a HifiVega anything or YouTube.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited. But so with that, we're going to end this here so we can go pee, change our shirts or whatever we need to do. And we'll see you guys here soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys next week here on the HifiVega Network, the same bat channel.
Same bat time. See you on Side Jag.